Leslie Meredith from Breakbulk Events and Media. We are kicking off America's Month in anticipation of our Breakbulk Americas digital special. And today I have with me Russell Williams, Director of Business Development for Tradepoint Atlantic, who will be joining our U.S. offshore wind project session on November 3rd. Welcome, Russell.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's so great that you're here. So tell us about Tradepoint Atlantic for those who are not familiar. I know I wasn't until just recently.
Absolutely, thank you. So Tradepoint Atlantic is a site just outside of Baltimore City in the Mid-Atlantic on the U.S. East Coast. It's a former steel mill, the Bethlehem Steel Mill at Sparrows Point, Maryland. And it is a redevelopment that started in 2014 to transform the steel mill into a multimodal logistics hub. So we have 3,300 acres of land in total, all owned by Tradepoint. We have significant strategic advantages from a marine perspective of multiple deepwater berths. We have our own owned and operated shortline railroad on site, and then we have very, very efficient, quick access to major truck arteries for the U.S. East Coast going into the Midwest, I-95, I-70. So really trying to create that multimodal logistics hub between port, rail, and truck access for our users.
Excellent. Now, do you have the Class 1 connections too? Does your short rail connect to those?
We do. So both CSX and Norfolk Southern connect at our Northern Interchange Yard on a daily basis. We have our own locomotive power and distribute to a few dozen tenants on site on a regular basis.
That is fantastic. Now, is there another facility or development like this on the East Coast?
So I think Tradepoint has a pretty unique position in the amount of space that we have to operate. I mean, 3,300 acres is quite a lot of room to develop and gives us a lot of flexibility and opportunity to really create unique solutions for the tenants and users of this facility, whether it be rail solution, truck access, or marine, port access. We really have the ability to utilize one, two, or all three of those modes of transportation in the space and infrastructure that we have, both that we've installed and it's a holdover from the steel mill in order to create really customized solutions for our customers.
Right, and I think just the underlying transition of taking a steel mill and a big steel facility and turning it into this is just an inspiring project, really, for the U.S.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's very motivating to be a part of it, but it's something new every day, and it creates a lot of opportunity both at a local level, kind of in the Baltimore region, and more regionally in the Mid-Atlantic and U.S. East Coast, as we'll talk about today on the offshore wind piece. I think there's a lot of ways that we can help support a lot of different industries.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about offshore wind for a moment. Where does Tradepoint Atlantic fit into that picture? Where are we as far as development goes, and what are you offering that will help expedite these projects?
Absolutely. So I think there's a lot that we can offer, especially on the onshore side of things. Like I mentioned, we have a significant amount of land, and when you talk about these size of components that are going to be handled for offshore wind, I mean, they're massive, right? You need a lot of space to be able to handle them properly, and you need the infrastructure as well. So it's not just the space, but it's having load-bearing capacity quayside. It's having a uniform elevation between the quayside and any storage, staging, or manufacturing areas. And so Tradepoint is actually, trying to get ahead of all of this and really position ourselves to help support the industry at large, not just in the Mid-Atlantic region, but up and down the U.S. East Coast. So we have a project, an infrastructure improvement project ongoing. It's actually substantially completed at this point, where we've done a new development of our quayside. So significant pile driving for heavier bearing capacity, site civil work to create ample laydown space in adjacent areas, really to be able to facilitate not just large component storage and staging and marshaling efforts, but also potential future manufacturing and fabrication activities. We installed a new roll-on, roll-off berth for heavy transfer vessels or barges. So really trying to look at the entire need from a port perspective for offshore wind and have a solution there to create flexibility, an opportunity to capture and facilitate projects at scale. So not just able to do a few components, but really hundreds of acres available to be able to help with projects at scale.
Absolutely. All right. So sounds like you're pretty excited about this sector. Where are we in the timeline of you seeing first cargoes, for instance, components, turbines, blades, et cetera, for these projects? How far away are we from that?
So I think it still seems like it's a couple of years out, just from a permitting perspective, as things are moving through at a federal level and otherwise, local state sites that need to get approved. So everything's still coming together, a lot of great momentum, things are moving forward, but I think, we're still getting everything kind of buttoned up, but things are still moving along, in parallel with that as far as the supply chain getting set up and everything. So there's a lot of pieces to get in place, to set up really a new industry, which is extremely exciting, a new supply chain, new sizes of components being handled, which is great. We're just, excited to, potentially be a part of that as we can. But I think we're still a little bit out from larger scale projects really beginning, but permitting, all that is well underway, of course.
Okay, now my last question, maybe a surprise question, but what types of businesses should consider leasing space in your development, who are, let's say, considering being involved in this fairly new sector of offshore wind?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think there's really a breadth of opportunity here at Tradepoint. So we have anything from logistics companies of installers who are going to be, handling the components, heavy lift companies who want to be a part of that process of moving material from the quayside to the staging area and back and forth. We also have any fabricators, manufacturing, other processors. Tradepoint Atlantic is zoned for heavy industrial manufacturing use. It's got heavy utility service from the steel mill. There's an incredible opportunity here from a manufacturing and fabrication perspective. And then there's also, like I mentioned, the logistical opportunities. So as far as facilitating projects, marshaling scope, things like that, we are here to help support that. So whether it's companies are bringing components, smaller components from other places and assembling them here, or facilitating movement of cargo in and out, really we can help facilitate all that.
Well, that is great. And I know that we'll all look forward to hearing more from you and your fellow panelists in the upcoming session, November 3rd, on offshore wind projects in the U.S. And I want to thank you for sharing this with us, and know that we'll all look forward to seeing you very soon.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time.